Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about this jewelry spot welder. This is a portable 80 amp 110 volt
Let me show it.
jewelry spot welder. It's actually a ding zing jewelry machine.
Is it really a ding?
It's a DX808 and we're going to just show you how
We
to
painted it though.
Yeah,
So
we
that's
did
why
paint
it's-
it.
Yeah.
It might be yellow or red
I think
or
it came yellow, yeah.
different
Well, I know
color.
it came yellow, I just don't know if they come red. But
So we just kind of painted it, make it unique so we know it's ours, you know. But anyhow, it's very simple. When you receive it and you order this thing off Amazon, it comes basically in a couple pieces. It comes with the actual welder, the big piece. It comes with the electrode, and it's color coded. So the electrode has red, and then there's a red on the front of the machine.
red wire, yeah.
Red wire, and then this is your ground, which is black. Here's a foot pedal, which is a simple switch, so you could hit the spot weld with your foot. So because you're going to be using your hands while you're doing the jewelry. Okay, and a cord. So now what we're going to do is we're going to plug everything in and we're going to walk through it. Another thing I'm going to recommend is that you get some tinted glasses. Protect your eyes because it is a bright, it's not a continuous weld like what we're used to as if you're a welder, you know, but it is a spot and it's bright. And I would recommend protecting your eyes. The other thing is we've used this a few times, so I'm going to walk you through some things. Do you see on our ground, they're tweezers, but do you see the carbon built up from spot welding?
You gotta hold it closer.
Okay, I don't know if you could see it, but there's carbon built up on there. Can you see that?
Where are you? It's trying to focus.
So basically,
Oh yeah, there we go.
okay. So
Yeah.
what the carbon is just, there's just black spots on there. Well, it's not as, your continuity is not as good when you're holding something with the tweezers and you're trying to weld. So you want to get rid of that like each time, which a Dremel tool works really good. And I don't have any clear safety glasses, so I'm going to just wear these tinted ones. You always want to protect your eyes. But what you want to do is just turn this on and just grind off that carbon. And you'll see these are stainless steel. They'll get shiny again. Okay, and probably every weld or every 5 or something, whenever you see that carbon built up, you just want to get it off. Okay, you want it to be shiny metal. That way, for the continuity, it's metal on metal, and there's nothing to get in the way of that electric flow. Okay, the electricity. Now the other thing is on our electrode. Do you see it's a little goofy looking? But basically this wire, this is a TIG electrode, which we're not using a TIG, it's set up and we don't need to really get into it, but if you take this off, it's basically set up where if this was on argon gas or CO2, this is where the gases come through for the weld, but this is just an electric spot weld. It's very, very simple. Everything that is copper or brass, it's all touching each other. There's continuity all the way through to this wire. Now, this electrode, this piece of tungsten is very important because as you weld, there's going to be carbon that builds up on this. And my experience is to keep this as clean as possible, even if you want to use your Dremel tool. And then even if you had alcohol wipes, just to wipe that off, keep it clean. And you want to keep it pointy, almost like a pin, because it'll start getting rounded. Because as you use it, you're gonna lose it. It's gonna start long, and you're gonna burn the tip off. Okay. Keep this pointy. And again, I'll kind of walk you through that. Safety glasses. You don't want this stuff getting in your eye. Using a Dremel tool, just turn it down. You don't need to have a high speed. But you want to hit this, okay? If you see any carbon on there, and then try to grind it down to a point. Okay. Okay, it's not perfect, but I think it's gonna be good enough for what we need. There's no carbon on there, and I could touch it and it feels like a nail. It's pointing. And this is just a cap. And again, everything's just in, it's all in, it's just the continuity of this piece and this.
Continuity means continuous.
Yeah, so if you got a continuity tester, like on a Fluke or any type of meter.
I don't know what flukes are.
Fluke's a brand, I'm sorry. So any type of meter, you'd have continuity from here to here. And you want to keep everything as clean as possible because you don't want carbon.
Because the carbon what?
Well, the carbon basically doesn't allow a good the electricity doesn't flow good.
Oh,
Carbon is going to be like water.
Yeah.
What does water do when it gets to the dam? It stops flowing.
Yeah.
And that electricity doesn't flow as well.
The carbon's like the dam.
Yes.
Okay.
So you want to get rid of that carbon so you have
and you want to do that every time? Did you find yourself doing that every time you put a
I would say every
on?
time. Each time you have a customer.
Yeah.
Anytime you have a customer, grind it down. Take 2-3 minutes in between customers, grind it down, and have it. That way, each time you do it, it's consistent.
All right.
So now what we're gonna do, it's real easy. The cord plugs into the back, just like any piece of equipment. This does have a 3-prong cord, okay, which means you've got a hot and a neutral and your equipment grounding conductor, okay? Very important, meaning that this metal needs grounded. That's why it's important to have your ground. Okay?
Plug that in. I'm gonna open the curtains because the goats keep going by. It's kind of funny.
The next thing is our pedal. The pedal is very simple. There's a divot here, and it just plugs into the front of the machine. And then there's a jam nut, okay? This pedal's ready. I'm gonna put it down by my foot. Now, one thing that I've learned is you probably wanna use your sock or no shoe. So you can feel that and you can press the button as easy as possible. So for some reason, when I have my shoe on, I can't feel it, and I hit it when I don't want to hit it, and it doesn't hit when I want it to hit. So I've learned to take my shoe off, and so you could feel it. You could probably hear that switch, and you just use your toe, okay? And that's where the spot goes. You're gonna touch it, and then as soon as you're ready, you hit it with the toe pedal.
Okay.
Again, very simple. It's color coded. I was always taught you always do your ground first. So.
¿Por qué? How come?
Well, you always want stuff to be grounded.
Oh.
So you don't get shocked. You don't complete the circuit. So, did my ground first. Now here's our electrode. Okay. That goes on the red. Okay. Very, very simple. Here's some gauges. You have your coarse tune and then the micro tune, max and minimum. What we've been running on 2.8 millimeter jump rings, we put it on the max so it's flipped up, and you can see the numbers 109, 109 on each side.
Okay.
That'll get you close. Now each of these are a little different. Do you see the numbers 109, 109, and you could really fine tune them. But at that point, you got to start messing with this thing and learning on your own.
Get close. Okay, go ahead, keep talking.
Because each jump ring's a little bit different, but we found that this works on both gold and on the silver.
So you're at 109 on each.
On each. Now another thing.
Let me turn this real quick.
Do you see these right here? This
what
locks
is this
it in.
for?
Okay, so see how this moves? When it's locked in, I can't turn it.
Oh.
When you unlock it, now you could turn it.
Okay.
The bigger the number, the higher the arc. Okay, so you could burn
Wait
stuff
a second.
up.
So what are the smaller numbers, and then what is this bigger
One
number
is
going on
basically coarse. So this is going to be like a main temperature, and then this one here is going to be kind of fine tuning. Fine tuning over here. That's your micro tune.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep it at 109.
On each side?
On each side, and then you can just turn this a few times while you're playing with it.
So you control that large number by moving the smaller numbers, is that correct?
Yeah, so you could simply see how I turn this
Okay,
clockwise.
can you put it, yeah.
If I turn this clockwise, the numbers are gonna grow.
Ew,
See, now it's 210.
Okay.
Now it's 321.
Okay.
Now we're gonna roll
And what
4.
would the higher number is the more the weld, the
Yeah.
stronger the weld.
The bigger the material.
The bigger the material.
What I've learned is keep it low and then play with it and work up. There's actually, you could spot weld some, well, I don't know what gauge, maybe a piece of 14 gauge.
Okay.
And we're dealing with some pretty small stuff with this permanent jewelry. So we've got this baby turned down because we don't want to burn through these.
Oh, we've done that.
Yeah, we've
done that.
I've played around with it enough to start low. Each machine might be a little bit different. Not, you know, it's still mechanical, not perfect. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn it on and we're gonna hit a spot weld.
Okay.
Very simple. I got it plugged in. See the on off? Okay, this lights up when it's on. Another thing in the back, if this doesn't turn on and you've got power, there's a fuse right here.
Okay.
Do you see this fuse? Might be a good idea. Pull that fuse out, go to the hardware store and have a couple of them just in case. Because this is where your fuse is to protect the equipment.
Okay.
Another nice piece of equipment to have is a light with a magnifying glass.
These are called extra hands, I think. It's on Amazon as well.
And this is so nice. I mean, you want this magnifying glass because we're going to be dealing with these tiny jump rings. Okay.
And those are which millimeter?
So this
and
is
gauge?
2.8 millimeter.
Yeah, and I think they're 22 gauge. I'm not quite.
So 2.8 millimeter means how round they are, and then 22 gauge is going to be the size of the actual material.
Okay.
These are tiny, so
Let's see.
let me get one out on my
Yeah, get
finger,
one.
and you could kind of, you'll see how small they are. Okay, now again with our ground, we can hold this thing. Okay, just to show you, those are tweezers, and look how
so hold
tiny
there.
it is.
Yeah, it is so small. I can tell you that, but I don't. Okay, put your hand on the back of that. Yeah.
Here, how would I put it right here on my
Sure.
finger?
Perfect.
That kind of shows you how small it is.
And we use that on. Yes. Let me show my bracelet if I can. My bracelet's the
And then what we
satellite
do,
bar, and I don't know.
there's the jump ring right there.
Yeah, hold on, let me get in there. There you go. Okay. And a lot of women are asking, why no argon? Can you explain that?
So argon is going to be a cleaner weld because the gas. I don't have all the specifics with me, but argon is going to be cleaner, not as much carbon.
So for us who just starting and we can't afford the Orion
Yeah.
machine and things like that, this is still effective.
Yep.
We've used it plenty of times, made lots of money with a small machine. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of the basic idea. You just have to
Yeah.
sand or
The biggest
What
thing
we've
is
done.
with argon, you might not have to buff it as much. Well, what we're going to do is we'll weld it with our Dremel tool. We're going
I
to,
shouldn't say that made lots of money, but we were effective. We've made money only because we haven't had to spend all on the machine. Is why I say that.
if we
And
were
that's the
using,
point. Is this should be an income.
if we were using argon, we wouldn't have to buff it as much with this. But this spot weld is going to leave some carbon,
Not
which
even a big
means
deal.
you get a buffer. It's like a little tiny wire wheel, and we're going to buff that carbon off our weld.
Can
And
they do
then
it with any other tool besides the Dremel? I
You
mean, they're
could-
not that pricey.
you
but
could probably
still.
use a wire brush by hand, but this is what I find really easy.
Yeah,
you
you could
turn
do
it
a wire
on,
brush.
and then you just turn it to the lowest setting. And I could put that on my finger, and it doesn't hurt.
Well, the wire brushes do come in the kits. Like if you buy a kit, the wire brushes do come. But we've had some of this stuff because we've done a lot of jewelry.
So what I'm gonna do is
It's not very
I got to get this
expensive.
jump ring,
Okay.
and I like the magnifying glass
Okay.
so I can see what I'm doing. But you probably can't see on the camera, but this jump ring is open, and we need to close it. Can you get a bit? Can you see how it's open right there?
Yeah.
And we need to close that so we could weld our joint.
Okay.
So usually you use 2 pliers, or in my case, I'll just use my thumb. Now it's closed. Do you see how it's closed and I can see a little line where the joint is?
Okay.
Can you see that?
A little line where the joint is. I think that they, might.
Okay. And
I can't.
see if you could see it through the magnifying
That
glass.
might work. Let me come this way.
Okay.
Come closer. Come closer.
Okay. Anyhow, we closed it like an O, and we are going to weld that joint now.
Okay, stay right there.
And
Almost had
oops,
it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Baloney. I can't get it, but I think
Okay.
we could have. Yeah.
So now I'm going to transition and use the tweezers, and I got to use a magnifying glass. And then what I like to do is lock it in like this. Okay.
With your extra hands. Okay, so you actually put the ground. Oh, that's awesome.
And I'll pull
yeah.
this down so it sets
Yeah.
on the ground so it's not going to move.
So when you're doing this on somebody's wrist, is that kind of the same idea?
Same idea.
Okay. And so, like, if that was my wrist, I wish you can do that. But this is good enough. This is good enough.
So now I'm going to put my glasses on. It's grounded, right? Because we're on the tweezers, and all I got to do, I got the machine on, I got my pedal. All I do is I'm going to put this electrode,
Your foot's on the pedal. Okay.
and
Electrode.
basically I want that electrode to be about the width of that jump ring. So the 22 gauge.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see? I almost want this thing touching.
Okay. I'm almost there. If you just wait 1 second, I bet I can focus on that.
Okay, and then you want to rest it because you're going to be moving, especially if you're a coffee drinker. So I always use both hands. And let me know when you're ready.
I mean, it's the best. 1 second. Just give me a second. I really wish I could get in there a little bit better. Grab your fingers. Okay.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that's all you do. I can see from here that it closed the gap, but I'm going to do it one more time because I always like to make sure that it is welded. Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Is that what you kind of tell the ladies? Because you've done
Yeah.
it several times. Yeah, we kind of
Yep.
do it together.
And I'll ask them to look the other way because I don't want anyone's eye to get hurt.
Or we have glasses for.
And I'm going to do it one more time and then buff it.
In general, you do one nice, but our jump rings have not been consistent.
Yeah, so and I could
So
see.
we want to order a little better quality jump ring
Yep.
because that makes a difference.
And then what you would do is you would turn this on, low speed, and then just buff it. Oops.
Here, I got it. Anyway, do you want to close by saying anything? I'm trying to.
You know, the only thing I'll say is if you enjoy this, start with the basics. I think there's nothing wrong with this. And then just go from there. If you want to upgrade. But this thing's pretty inexpensive.
$1,400 machine compared to a $185 machine.
Yeah.
Same job. So you do the same thing.
This works great. It's probably more the material. This will weld better than most people can out of the gate. The key is getting good material because a lot of this material might be gold plated, but it's who knows what's inside.
Gold filled. You mean gold filled?
Yeah, gold filled.
Gold filled.
So if you get pure gold, we've had really good luck with the silver. The silver has welded really well, but the gold filled, I don't know what's in there. I don't know all the properties, but the key is getting good material, and you'll get one weld, it melts it, and it looks beautiful. Some of our jump rings, it's hit or miss. It's probably 50-50, and actually, it's better to get that good jump ring, the quality, because what happens is I'll cut it off and I'll put another one on the customer because I don't want them leaving with something that's not good quality. So,
Yep. Okay.
okay, enjoy your New welder.
Spot, is it spot welder?
The spot welder.
Spot
Jewelry
welder.
spot welder. DX808. Basically, it's an 80 amp
From Amazon.
from Amazon.
All right.